skip it. Let's bring in former Reagan economic policy advisor, Dr. Art Laffer. Good to see you, Dr. Laffer. What did you think of the
Good to see you, Elizabeth. How are you?
Good. What did you think of the president's speech?
I thought it was great. I mean, really lovely that it was here in Nashville, you know. We people in Nashville deserve some of this great credit, you know, and he came here for us. It's super.
You know, he really knows how to speak right to the American people.
Doesn't he,
It's
though?
uncanny.
It's
I mean, you haven't seen it. I hate to say it, I don't want to be cliche and call it a barn burner of a speech, but it was punctuated by a lot of applause. And he's talked personally about 401ks and how, I think this is the anecdote we're going to show you. He ad-libbed about how a police officer came up to him and said, "Thank you for my 401k." Let's listen.
I had a policeman in New York come up to me and said, "Mr. President," I was shaking hands. Do we love our police and our uniform? And he came up, he was online, and we're taking pictures, and it was a nice event. And he said, "Sir, I want to thank you for my 401k. I never thought in terms of this way." I said, "I think I'm going to use this every once in a while." He said, "My 401k is up 39%. It's so good. My wife thinks don't forget, this is like in 9 months when I met him. He said, "My wife thinks I'm an investment genius. Thank you, sir. Thank you." And I said, "You know what? Based on the stocks, 39 is not that good. You're not really doing that well. Don't tell your wife that."
You see how he took care of a political point, Art? He's saying essentially cops, teachers, firemen, government workers, markets doing well. Their pensions are floating higher, $7.3 trillion in market wealth since he was elected. What was your reaction to that?
Well, that's just fantastic. I mean, this is the indicator of things to come. Remember, the stock market doesn't tell us what has been, it tells us what will be. And with that market rocketing up like that, you're bound to see a much faster growth, much more employment. All those things are going to happen. And he is hitting those buttons just perfectly. I mean, especially here in Nashville. Did you notice he didn't talk about that silly book at all? He talked about economics. And that's great. He had the next senator of the United States, Marsha Blackburn, right there, and he had the next governor of the state of Tennessee, Diane Black, right there as well. I mean, he had all of our sort of power group, and it was just, I thought he did just a great job, and I wish he'd come to Nashville a lot more.
You know, Art, we keep track of what the networks are covering. It's all Russia, it's all the Steve Bannon book, nothing about policies, nothing with the president. It's ironic the president had to get out of the D.C. swamp to talk about policies. D.C. is supposed to be a factory of policies. Let's get to the president today, warning farmers that if Democrats win, they will take back their tax cuts, saying today people literally came up to him thanking him for his agenda, that he literally saying the farmers are telling him, "You gave us our farms back." But first, Art, we want to show you Democrats fear-mongering over the tax cuts before they were passed. Here's what they said. Watch.
The Republican tax plan will be full of tricks for the middle class and full of treats for the wealthiest Americans.
It's going to be a middle-class tax increase.
A devastating and, in my view, immoral budget to fast-track their immoral tax plan to hand trillions to the wealthy while raising taxes on the middle class. Taxes will be raised on middle-class families across America.
Wealthy Americans, big, fat Christmas present for you. Tiny Tim, we're taking your crutch away from you and all the other kids in this country. And we're putting a lump of coal into your Christmas stocking.
Art, what's your reaction to that?
You know, it just saddens me very much. It's just straight wrong. I don't know of one economist who would say stuff like that ever, and it's political pandering. And I'm very sad because they should be working with us, EMAC, and you know, this is what we need is a bipartisan pro-growth agenda like John F. Kennedy was, like Bill Clinton was. You know, they were great presidents and they had great economic policies, and now the Democrats have gone and off the ranch. They're just crazy. I don't understand it. Even Barack Obama said that we had to cut the corporate tax rate dramatically, which is what Trump finally did. I don't know why these guys are just saying this stuff.
Elizabeth Warren said you need corporate tax reform. So did Bernie Sanders. So did, you know, Joe Biden, John Kerry. And by the way, Chuck Schumer and Ted Kennedy voted for the Reagan tax cuts. But today, Art, the president said today in Nashville, Tennessee, to the farmers, we are getting 3% growth. 3% growth. That was not supposed to happen. Jobless rates, including for African Americans, are at record lows. I mean, is an Armageddon? Is that Armageddon? Is an Armageddon when 100 companies, 100 companies, Art, plowing the tax cuts back into operations, or millions, hundreds of millions of dollars in bonuses?
Well, just so you know, he was here today in the fastest growing state in the nation. We have no income tax. We have no unearned income tax. We have low property taxes. We got rid of our death and estate tax totally here in Tennessee. We're the fastest growing. We've got about the lowest tax burden of any state, and we're growing the fastest. Duh. I mean, you know, we are the example America should be following. We are the place. We got way big improvements in schools, education here. Our highways are improving dramatically, and we have all of our pension funds are fully funded. I mean, we have the highest credit rating of any state in the nation. This is what America should be like, is Tennessee, and I'm glad he came here and he gave that speech. I wish he had given the one is, we're trying to make America like Tennessee, which is fast-growing, low-tax prosperity, which even the Democrats should like that. They really should. But I don't know what's wrong with them, but they've gotten off the track, Emac, and I don't know why.
We were just showing the president addressing and shaking hands outside the speech. He's getting ready to board, again, Air Force One. He's going to attend a college basketball game tonight. Art, the D.C. media is all about the mental fitness of President Trump when $7.3 trillion in market value has been added since the election. And, you know, didn't people also underestimate Ronald Reagan? And Ronald Reagan won two elections in a landslide. This is about policy. Which policies are going to get the candidates elected, right?
Yeah, Clark Clifford referred to Reagan. Can you believe this as the amiable dunce? I mean, that was his description of Reagan. And then, of course, Clark Clifford's career crashed on that. But what you want to now do is look at the fiscal fitness of America, which is improving by day. We added $7 trillion to the wealth of America in the stock market. We're going to have our budgets coming back towards balance. Revenues are going to start increasing. There's one thing that causes revenue growth, Elizabeth, and that's economic growth. I mean, tax revenues grow with the economy, and that's what we need to do, just like Tennessee
does. But you know what?
It.
By the way, I want to correct myself. The president will be attending a college football game tonight. Please forgive me, dear viewer. You know, to your point, liberal economists, by the way, he's a trained lawyer. He's not an economist. It's Robert Reich. And billionaire Tom Steyer and other so-called experts have put out videos saying, you know what, Art Laffer, you're all wrong. Trickle-down economics doesn't work. I want you to take them on. Let's listen first.
Trump and conservatives in Congress are planning a big tax cut for millionaires and billionaires. To justify it, they're using the oldest song in their playbook, claiming tax cuts on the rich will trickle down to working families in the form of stronger economic growth. Baloney.
Tax cuts for wealthy people haven't helped anyone except wealthy people. There is no trickle down.
The truth about trickle-down economics is it doesn't work.
Okay, sorry. Personally, these guys are really annoying. I said this 8 years ago in 2010. The era of trickle-down government did not work. Now we're getting double the growth that was under Obama. Trickle-down government under Obama didn't work. What's the proof that you have, Art Laffer, that trickle-down economics, as they call it, I don't think you would call it that, works?
The two best periods in U.S. history, recent history, are John F. Kennedy with massive tax cuts on the rich and Ronald Reagan with massive tax cuts on the rich. We had economic growth like mad. The poor got jobs. I think Reagan, since the tax cuts took effect, I think we created 20 million jobs. We had huge prosperity. And with Bill Clinton, he cut taxes a lot as well. People forget it. He did raise the top highest two brackets, but he cut taxes everywhere else. The capital gains tax, he eliminated the capital gains tax for owner-occupied homes. I mean, that's amazing. He had welfare reform. You know, he cut taxes on the Social Security recipients, on those people, the elderly. It's just amazing. What happened? The economy prospered like mad. Where are their examples? They want to look at Obama, how well Obama did? Hello. How well W. did? Not. And then the Four Stooges. I love the Four Stooges. Johnson, Nixon, Ford, and Carter. The largest assemblage of bipartisan ignorance ever put on planet Earth. And they loused up the economy, and it took Reagan to bring it back again. You know, these guys don't see, they can't see the finger in front of their face.
Or, you know, when you have facts, right? Facts matter. But if you set aside the facts, then you're just an ideologue. And that's why I said it's annoying, right?
They say these words like trickle down and fat cat richies. That's stupid. You know, Jack Kemp put it so beautifully. You can't love jobs, Elizabeth, and hate job creators. You know, if you make it attractive for job creators to hire people, you're going to get better wages, better growth, better output, better income. These people will be having something to do with their time, developing skills and advancing their families. That's all we want. And if you want one good example, compare New York with Florida, or compare Tennessee with Kentucky. Kentucky runs their model. Tennessee runs our model. Which one works?
Yeah.
Ours works, theirs fails. And you can see it in economics. You can't tax an economy into prosperity. Forgive me for saying that, but you can't.
You know, I often call you Dr. Art Laughter by accident. I didn't get you laughing tonight, but you were terrific tonight, Dr. Laffer.
I love laughing, by the way. It's fun. You know, if you let this stuff get to you, Elizabeth, it'll kill you.
Yeah.
But if you just enjoy it, it's great. Good economics and humor can go well together.
Well, you look pretty happy there in
I am
Tennessee.
happy.
Good to see you, Art. Come back soon.
Good to see you. Thank
Here's
you.
more from President Trump today.